So with the announcement of Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, Delta, we're all awaiting what is to come. We're still yet to see any gameplay or any more official news, but there has been a little bit of recent news that might spark some of your interest. As we're all aware, Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake is going to be graphically enhanced. We don't really know much in terms of what the control scheme is going to be like, or if they're even going to modernise the controls to make it so that it's suited to a more modern audience, and keep the OG controls as well for those who like the classics. With a game so highly renowned such as Metal Gear Solid 3 that is on par with the best of Metal Gear Solid 1, Konami have got a lot to live up to, as the fanbase several times have been let down previously before, and hopefully this time they get it right. So unlike other content creators who take 10 minutes to get to the point, let's get to the juicy news. Metal Gear Solid throughout the history of the console has had some great graphics even way back on PS1, but most notably is the Fox engine for Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain. But rumours suggest that Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta will be actually running on the Unreal 5 engine. The Unreal Engine has been around for quite some time and really has changed and shaped the game in terms of graphical enhancements and lighting and all different kinds of things within video games. It's an open software, so many people can use it to make their own video games. It's very useful. But some will argue that Unreal Engine 5 is not necessarily the best kind of engine they've seen, as there's actually better out there. As you're all aware, the Fox engine itself was quite impressive, but to be quite honest, the Unreal Engine 5 seems to hold up really nicely, considering as well the amount of detail that you can do. As you can see in this video here, the faces practically look realistic. Even the environments are quite dynamic, with shadows and lightings and midtones and highlights. Whilst the Unreal Engine 5 itself might not be unique in its own way like the Fox engine or, for example, Rockstar's Rage engine, in terms of making a game remade, this is probably the best kind of software that could be used for that. It's easy to access and it has brilliant tools to make a game look sharp and high quality. According to the post spotted on a popular subreddit, R Gaming Leaks and Rumours, a user recently visited Unreal Fest 23 in New Orleans and learned some new details about the up and coming title. First and foremost, the user has stated that Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake will be using Unreal Engine for the development of the title, in which it states, "News from the Unreal Fest 23 New Orleans managed to chat with a few developers who have also worked on the game. I'll be not using their company name to put them in jeopardy, just that they are one of the art studios who have mainly assisted Konami's internal development team with art. The game's environments are almost fully done and they've been working on it for almost 3 years, and we should expect a release date announcement. The game design has not changed a single bit. There is no open world, it is a full-on facial uplift. All the environments are done from the ground up. Main reason is that Konami is playing this one really close to their chest, and they knew changing the game without Kojima would cause them unnecessary PR issues. And according to the Redditor, the game will largely stay the same. The team the Redditor spoke to was environmental artists, and they didn't give any information about the characters or a VO, and as the article goes on to state, that they had no reason to believe anything about the story or acting has changed, which is good news, guys. They did say that they saw the character models and mentioned they look great with high poly art. They mentioned the usage level streaming, so we could perhaps assume the full game may use seamless transitions between the levels instead of clear-cut fade to black loads. These are all the infos I have gotten from my No LA trip, according to the Redditor. Other details that the user provided came from an art studio that has assisted Konami in the internal development of the art of Metal Gear Solid Delta. The user's information stated that the game's environments were almost fully done. The team has been working on them for almost 3 years, and players can expect a release date announcement soon. Furthermore, the user has also added that the game's design is pretty much the same and it is a full-on facial uplift. The environment has been redone from scratch, and the main reason why Konami is not changing in the game is because Hideo Kojima, the original creator, is not involved in the project and they don't want to face any unnecessary issues. Other details that the user provided stated that the people they spoke to didn't have any information related to the voiceovers and didn't have any reason to believe anything about the story or acting has changed. However, they did add that the character models look great with high poly art. And lastly, the game will also seemingly use level streaming, which will allow players to experience the full game with seamless transitions and will not be met with clear-cut to fade black loads as we know from the original games as we're going through different segments. Regardless, even though this is exciting and believable information about the up and coming title, players should also know that this doesn't come from an official source and they should consume it with a slight grain of salt. So if Konami follow through with what exactly it is said that they have stated they're going to do, then this remake should be as great as it sounds. I mean, according to reports, they are wanting to keep the original story and game design, just while evolving the gameplay and making the visuals more appealing to the eye. It'll be interesting to see what they actually bring out when we see some gameplay. I'm thinking perhaps maybe some physics and new changes within the game on how we shoot enemies and how they respond, or perhaps animations when we take out certain animals with different items and objects and weapons seeming to have their own unique qualities. It's interesting how they're going to be able to continue such a great game without changing anything that makes it so beautifully well, and also hopefully not removing any content from within the game, but just simply involving and adding on to it. For me personally, I'm looking forward to mostly is having the physics enhanced in the game to see how things will play out a lot more smoothly than they did on the previous. I'd love to see a lot more realism in terms of the damage we take when we're out there on our mission. Perhaps making it hinder us a lot more in missions, so we're a lot more careful and a lot more avoidant of traps and a lot more cautious on how we approach this stealth infiltration mission. Like if we break our leg in a game, we should have to stop and try and fix it and put it back in place. It'd be cool to see how we can also interact with different animals too. Hopefully Konami might implement some kind of predator within inside the new remake, such as like a wolf or some kind of bear that we could perhaps use to distract enemies, a bit like a hornet's nest. It's also worth pointing out too about the speedrunners community who speedrun Metal Gear Solid 3, if that they can actually nerf the game like they can in the original. And if you're wondering what I mean by nerf, I mean being able to exploit different bosses throughout the game, such as when you fight the end you can keep him trapped by throwing stun grenades at him and then hitting him with a sig gas. Or for instance with the fear, if you actually pretend to take the death pill and then hit him with a stun grenade and shoot him with the AK-47 or trip the trap. I wonder if they'll keep them exploits in the game, and if they do, perhaps Konami intended to put them there in the first place, or if they're not in this remake, then perhaps they're not, and then that just confirms all the more that those speedrun hacks were actually just exploits. So I guess the exciting news from all this then is if the Reddit post is true, we haven't got long to wait till the announcement, and they've been working on this for quite some time, so we could be expecting some gameplay footage anytime soon. Well anyway guys, you let me know what you think and leave a comment in the comment section down below and tell me what you think about the entire situation. This has been the Voice Box, and thank you for watching.
Hey, this is Snake. I'm looking forward for you to join me on the Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta remake. Until then, subscribe and like all things Voice Box and for anything Metal Gear.